Imagine walking into a room full of people, everyone is talking, laughing, taking pictures, but you feel like a ghost. You are completely invisible. The U.S. Surgeon General recently issued a chilling, unprecedented warning, officially declaring loneliness a public health crisis. But here is the devastating truth they didn't put in the headlines: being alone isn't just making you sad. It is literally destroying your body from the inside out, shutting down your organs, and silently killing you. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the crushing weight of isolation is as deadly to your physical body as chain-smoking cigarettes. I am going to show you what happens inside your brain when you feel left out, why your immune system is crashing, and most importantly, I will give you a scientifically proven escape route to break free from this silent epidemic before it is too late. Let's start with a foundational truth that completely changes how we look at human existence. We often think of loneliness as an emotional problem, a fleeting feeling of sadness on a Friday night when you have no plans, or that sharp pang of FOMO when you see your friends hanging out without you on Instagram. But biology tells a much darker, much more urgent story. For our ancient ancestors, being separated from the tribe wasn't just an inconvenience, it was an immediate death sentence. If you were alone in the wild, you couldn't hunt effectively, you couldn't defend yourself against predators, and you would not survive the winter. Because of this, evolution hardwired a devastating alarm system into our bodies. When you experience social isolation, your brain registers it exactly the same way it registers physical pain. Let me repeat that, because it is crucial: the exact same neural pathways that light up when you break a bone or touch a burning stove also light up when you feel rejected or utterly alone. Your body perceives the absence of human connection as an acute, life-threatening emergency. Now, pay close attention to this next part. Because we no longer live in the wild, our bodies get confused by modern isolation. We sit in our apartments, scrolling endlessly through social media feeds, surrounded by digital avatars but devoid of genuine human touch. The brain senses this chronic disconnection and hits the panic button, flooding your system with stress hormones. This isn't just a temporary stress response, it is a permanent state of biological red alert that wears down every single cell in your body. We are living in a world that is more hyper-connected than ever before in human history, yet we have never been so profoundly, desperately isolated. This paradox is the foundation of the modern loneliness epidemic, and it is quietly ravaging our health in ways that scientists are only just beginning to understand. But wait, it gets even crazier when you look at the actual numbers. Let's dive deep into what this chronic state of alarm actually does to your physical biology. The most staggering piece of evidence comes from the groundbreaking research of Dr. Julianne Holt-Lunstad. After analyzing data from millions of people, her team made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the medical community. They found that chronic loneliness increases your risk of premature death by a staggering 26%. To put that into perspective, they calculated that prolonged social isolation is the exact biological equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It is more dangerous than obesity. It is more deadly than physical inactivity. But how? How can a feeling do the same damage as inhaling toxic tar and nicotine? It starts with cortisol, the primary stress hormone. When you are lonely, your brain constantly signals that you are in danger, keeping your cortisol levels artificially spiked day after day, night after night. This chronic elevation of cortisol acts like a slow-acting poison. It increases your blood pressure, hardens your arteries, and drastically raises your risk of cardiovascular disease. Your heart is literally working overtime to keep you alive in a state of perpetual fear. And this is the part that blew my mind. The damage doesn't stop at your heart, it absolutely decimates your immune system. In a healthy body, your immune system is perfectly balanced to fight off viruses and bacterial infections. But when you are chronically lonely, your body shifts its immune response. It anticipates that because you are isolated and likely to be attacked by a predator, you will need to heal from physical wounds. So, it ramps up massive, systemic inflammation to prepare for an injury that never comes. At the same time, it severely downregulates your body's ability to fight off viral infections. This means that lonely people are not only significantly more prone to chronic inflammatory diseases like arthritis and Alzheimer's, but they are also much more susceptible to everyday illnesses. You are literally getting sicker because you are alone. Furthermore, we have to look at what isolation does to your brain architecture. Neuroscientists have used MRI scans to look at the brains of chronically lonely individuals, and the results are terrifying. Prolonged isolation actually causes the brain to shrink. Specifically, regions like the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and learning, begin to atrophy. This is the exact same pattern of brain degradation that we see in severe clinical depression and early-stage dementia. Your brain is a muscle that requires complex social interaction to stay active and healthy. When you deprive it of deep, meaningful human connection, the neural networks begin to prune themselves away. You lose cognitive sharpness, your emotional regulation fails, and you spiral further into a dark void of anxiety and self-doubt. The World Health Organization recognized this catastrophic damage and launched a major global campaign in 2026 to combat the loneliness epidemic, treating it with the same urgency as a viral outbreak. The physical devastation of loneliness is undeniable, and it is happening to millions of people right now without them even realizing it. And in a moment, I'll show you the exact technique to fix this. But here is the twist, and it is something that nobody ever tells you about loneliness. The solution to this deadly epidemic is not just being around people. In fact, you can be in the center of a crowded party, surrounded by friends, married with children, and still be the loneliest person in the room. This happens because loneliness is not defined by the quantity of people around you, it is defined by the quality of your connections. It is a discrepancy between the social connection you desire and the social connection you actually have. If you are constantly hiding your true self, wearing a mask to fit in, and terrified of being judged, your brain still registers that you are isolated because the real you is not being seen or accepted by anyone. This is why the digital age is so toxic. We have thousands of social media followers and endless superficial interactions, but zero vulnerability. The brain knows the difference between a double tap on a photo and the genuine warmth of someone who truly understands your pain. If you don't feel seen, you are alone. Period. So, how do we actually escape this biological trap? How do we lower our cortisol, heal our immune system, and rebuild our shrinking brains? Here is the actionable blueprint you can start using today. Step 1 is what psychologists call micro-moments of connection. You don't need to suddenly make 5 best friends to cure your loneliness. Your nervous system can be dramatically calmed by small, seemingly insignificant interactions. When you buy a coffee, look the barista in the eye, smile, and ask them how their day is going. When you pass a neighbor, stop for 10 seconds to chat. These tiny, low-stakes micro-interactions signal to your ancient brain that you are part of a tribe, instantly lowering your cortisol levels. Step 2 is embracing radical vulnerability. The only way to cure the feeling of being invisible in a crowd is to let yourself be seen. Choose one person in your life, a friend, a sibling, or even a therapist, and tell them something real. Tell them you have been struggling. Tell them you feel lost. When you drop the mask and the other person responds with empathy instead of rejection, it rewires your neural pathways. It proves to your brain that it is safe to connect. Step 3 is shifting from a passive consumer to an active contributor. Loneliness often traps us in a cycle of self-obsession, where we are constantly worrying about how we feel and why no one is reaching out to us. The fastest way to break this cycle is to redirect your focus outward. Volunteer at a local shelter, join a community garden, or simply offer to help a coworker with a difficult project. When you provide value to a group, your brain releases a massive surge of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which directly counteracts the damage caused by loneliness. You cure your own isolation by being the connection that someone else desperately needs. The loneliness epidemic is a silent killer, but it doesn't have to be your fate. You have the power to step out of the shadows, reach out, and heal your mind and body. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden dangers of isolation and you want to learn more about the incredible science behind your psychology, do me a favor. Hit that like button so this video can reach someone who really needs to hear it today, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. Remember, you are never truly alone. See you in the next video.